Happy Friday, everybody! It's Dr. Bridget Young from babyformulaexpert.com here on this glorious Friday to talk about baby led weaning. I'm Dr. Bridget Young. I'm the founder of babyformulaexpert.com. I'm a doctor of perinatal nutrition and a certified lactation counselor. I wish I could pan the camera. PD's got his own tripod and is also giving a little lecture. Aren't you, PD?
Yeah, I got my phone.
Got your phone all connected. Better watch my language. So today we're going to talk about baby-led weaning. I made a ton of notes because I get this question all the time, and I have lots of thoughts about baby-led weaning, but I never have sat down and assembled them all together. So I am going to refer to these just to be sure I don't forget anything. So like I said, I get this question all the time, and usually the question is from some sweet mama who's just like, what do you think of baby-led weaning? And it's kind of like, what do you think about brand X formula? And the answer is always, I can't answer that. It is 100% dependent on your unique individual little baby, whether or not baby-fed weaning is going to be the perfect thing for your family or not. So what I'm going to do today is make this video so I can respond to all those moms and send them this to give you my thoughts on first, what baby-led weaning is, and then the things that I would want you to think about and be aware of for implementing it in your own house. Okay, and first off, I am not an expert in baby-led weaning. There are people out there who do claim to be experts. I know what it is, and so I'm going to give you my opinion from a nutrition professional perspective. So let's get started. Hi, honey. I'll hold you for a minute. Come here. Okay. Vaughn would like to say hello. All right, Vaughn. So what is baby-led weaning? Baby-led weaning is basically avoiding purees. So in America, we do a lot of purees for first foods. Baby-led weaning is, I'm going to repeat myself, avoiding purees and mostly offering finger foods right away. So it's a lot of independent feeding. You offer the baby food that they can pick up for themselves right from the very beginning and begin offering them the foods that you're eating, but of course in an appropriate manner that's, soft enough and not choking hazard, common sense kind of thing. So it really encourages independent feeding. So the benefits of baby-fed weaning are multifold. I mean, it's great in an ideal situation. So first, the benefits are baby is exposed right away to lots of different textures and flavors in foods. And so you might avoid some of that texture phobia that babies often develop when they get used to only smooth things, and then moving them to experience more textures is hard for some babies. So you avoid that. It's great developmentally for, it is just a mess going on around me. I have my cousin here helping, so I'm not being neglectful. It's great for motor skill development, obviously, having to pick things up of all different sliminess and get them into your mouth. And it's great for development of self-regulation. So it's very, obviously, if the baby's feeding themselves, the whole learning process of I'm hungry, I want to eat more, and I'm full, I'm not going to go through the effort of putting something in my mouth is much, that can kind of click much faster if they're doing it themselves. So what else? There's a lot more. Baby joins the family in family feeding right away. So baby-led weaning specifically encourages feeding the things that you are eating. So that incorporates them into more of the social cultural aspects of food and feeding right from the very beginning. It helps babies learn how to safely handle their food. Like, choking is so scary, but it is inevitable. And, baby needs to learn how to gag and project that thing out of their esophagus. It's a reflex, but, starting early helps them appropriately learn how to handle foods of different textures and not choke. Your baby's going to choke. I'm not like scary choke, but like every baby gags and scares the living daylights out of you multiple times. It's horrible and it will happen. What else? Lastly, usually baby-fed weaning is really one of the benefits they say is it's much more natural because yes, purees are unnatural. We did not have food processors 300 years ago. So for most of human history, we did not have traditional baby food purees. I will throw in there, though, that for most of traditional history, mothers have pre-masticated their food for their infants, which is just a fancy word for pre-chewed. So in ancient history, it would have been much more normal for, no, we didn't have a food processor, but mama would have been chewing on meat, chewed it up, and then taken it out or spit it directly into the baby's mouth to allow them to participate in family meals before maybe they had teeth. My kids didn't have teeth till they were like 18 months. God help me if I had to do that. But 300 years ago, I would have manned up and done it. I would have womaned up and done it. Okay, so what do I think about baby-led weaning? I think it's amazing in an ideal situation. I don't think it's perfect for every baby. So my answer is always, it depends on your individual infant. And the things that you should particularly consider are twofold. Your individual baby's temperament, kind of their temperament in relation to food, if they're picky, if they're super opinionated, if they're like super chill and easygoing with food, and your baby will have a personality. And their nutritional, baby, and their nutritional history. So how old are they? Have they been breast or formula fed? I have a whole video about the perfect timing for solid foods, so I'd really want you to watch that, and that is very, very much a part of choosing baby-led weaning or not, because is your baby at risk for iron deficiency? Did they have a low iron? Are they like crushing it in the iron department? All those kinds of things should play a role in, you know, the food choices that you make for them. So in general, I think baby-fed weaning is wonderful. Here are my, I don't want to use the word concerns. Here are the aspects of baby-led weaning that I would want you to be aware of so that you can address them if they're relevant to you. One, this is just simple, but baby-led weaning is not really weaning. The European weaning is just introduction of complementary food. So, of course, at around 6 months, whenever you introduce solids, you're still providing breast milk and or formula. So, now that that's cleared up. So, okay, here are my general concerns. One, again, I shouldn't have said concerns, issues. Some babies are just terrible eaters, and I hate using that word, but I don't know, let's just be honest, it's kind of true. Now, I particularly am far more sensitive to this than the average parent, probably one, as I had one, but two, professionally, working in infant nutrition, you usually only work with babies who are having problems. So I have seen a lot of babies having issues with growth and getting enough calories and that kind of thing. So and that's not the normal scenario. But I see it a lot, so I'm particularly aware of it. You're aware of it. That's right, Petey. He's got his hand motions going and everything. I clearly talk with my hands. So, yeah, some babies, it's rare, but it does happen. You'll know if it's your kid, are just terrible. It's fine, Hannah. Don't worry about it. They're just terrible eaters, and there are some babies who literally, if all you did was allow them to feed themselves, they would not feed themselves enough calories. That's a scary scenario. Now, thank God, you're the parent. You can also help them eat. Would you like some help with this? Are you cooking? So you can intervene. But those are the kind of babies that make baby-led weaning, could not be the best choice to do it hardcore. Can you ask Cousin Hannah? Thanks, sweetheart. Those kind of babies, baby-led weaning might not be the best to commit to 100%. I want to see a little more intervention from the parents to be sure enough calories are getting in. A similar scenario is some babies are very opinionated with what they choose to feed themselves. If you just allow them to completely dictate which foods they eat, they will choose banana after banana after banana, and they will never eat anything that provides any protein. Well, again, that's a little bit of a scary situation. Most kids, again, have a little more exploratory side to them, and so they'll eat more. But if your kid won't eat foods that provide enough nutrition, well then again, we need the parents to have a little bit more of a role in their feeding. Okay. Next, the things that I just want people to be aware of very much ties into what I said about the timing of introduction of complementary food. So I visited a lot of baby-led weaning blogs today. Some of them were awesome. Some of them I did not like at all. I thought were full of not great information. So it runs the gamut out there. Everybody talks about timing of solid foods. How do you know when your baby is ready with, of course they need to be able to sit up pretty well, like very well in a bumbo or a high chair. They need to obviously have very good control of their neck, be interested in food around them. I didn't find one blog that talked about, again, their nutritional risks. So, again, I have a whole video about this in timing, but when are their iron stores going to run out, and have they been receiving breast milk or formula? And those two questions are really big to also play a role in when you introduce foods. And I saw 2 different websites that said, you know, the baby has to have all these developmental things to be ready for solid foods, and 8 months is a normal time to just start introducing foods. Now, again, this is just my opinion, but for example, if you have a baby at risk for iron deficiency later in infancy, like at 8 months. So let's say you delivered at 37 weeks, emergency C-section, so you weren't able to have your cord clamped. Your baby was born in the 10th percentile, but you have been crushing it with breastfeeding. They're now up to the 70th percentile, like wonderful things. But those are all stacks of risk factors for that baby's iron stores are going to be used up by 6 months. So not introducing foods at all until 8 months, and then maybe starting with sweet potato and banana. Those are not great nutritional approaches. I really want to see some iron and zinc in that baby's diet. So that's the other thing to be aware of, that some of the culture around baby-led weaning really encourages really late introduction of food, which again is perfectly safe for some babies, but not every baby. So it's completely dependent on your individual kiddo. All right, what's next? This is, going along those lines, baby-led weaning, it's a very natural, for lack of a better word, parenting approach, and it's very popular amongst families that are more likely to have been exclusively breastfeeding and plan to continue extensively breastfeeding, which is wonderful. But again, those babies are the ones that I really want to be sure are getting good sources of iron and zinc in their complementary foods. Now, the blogs that I went to today had great suggestions for first foods, which go along with mine. I saw egg yolk, poultry, liver, along with nice soft fruits and vegetables in graspable portions. However, in my experience, when I work with families who are doing baby-led weaning, it's usually not that varied of a diet. One, because the baby gets to choose themselves, and babies love fruit. Some babies love meat, but it's pretty rare. And so it's easy to fall into that trap of just allowing the baby to eat what they like. Like if I let my toddlers eat, like we would be eating crackers and bananas all day long and nothing else. So I just really, again, want parents to be aware of when you do baby-led weaning, you still need to be providing them with really nutrient-dense options. And then if they refuse to eat them, have a more interventional approach if it becomes a problem. So again, making sure your baby is getting some meat, some egg yolks, some really good sources of iron and zinc and all the other vitamins and minerals, and not just eating fruits and vegetables. Also because if you're just eating fruits and vegetables, it's really hard to get enough protein and fat in that way. And it's, a lot of great fats aren't solid foods. Avocado is wonderful, but how much avocado can you eat? Like I love a little butter, cream, some hardcore fats in there. I'd love to see. Okay, second last. Yes. This is relevant again for your temperament. If you've got a really opinionated, I don't want to use the word picky, a very opinionated baby. We have a lot of research in solid foods to show that babies often need to be offered food 8 or 10 times before they will accept it. And if you've got a baby who refuses everything right away, in my opinion, it's just easier to be able to have that 8th, 9th, 10th denial with a puree or something on a spoon, because you're more likely to get them to taste it. And they'll probably refuse it. How many times did I have to offer green beans before my kids actually took it? If I just put a green bean on their plate, I guarantee you it would not have touched their lips. But I had a green bean puree. I could get a little on their lip, so they at least tasted it, so they had the exposure. They still didn't eat it until the 10th or 12th time, but at least it increased their familiarity. Now, if it's on their plate with baby-led weaning, they're still seeing it, they're touching it, they're playing with it, so it's not lost. It's all wonderful. But again, just if your baby's one of those very opinionated, refusing to eat kind of kids, you just have to be a little bit aware of, are they getting enough calories? Are they getting enough actual exposure, oral exposure in their mouth, and not just fun playing exposure? which is also wonderful, but you know, I think I've made my point. Okay, so to wrap up, what are my thoughts on baby led weaning? I love the idea. I think it's wonderful and an ideal scenario. If you've got a rock star kid that does actually feed themselves, you know, enjoys eating, that kind of a thing, go for it. That's pretty rare, but you can incorporate baby led. You don't have to be hardcore one or the other. In fact, I very much encourage not being a hardcore devotee to like, I only do baby led weaning, I only do purees. Like, you know, be flexible. If anything, parenthood has got to be flexible because your baby is a little bit crazy, because all babies are. So, incorporate the best parts of baby led weaning that work for you, both for your family situation, and also, again, the biggest thing for me from nutrition is your individual infant's nutritional status, taking into account their previous weight gain and their individual nutritional risks. So so here are ways that you can get the benefits of baby led weaning with a mixed approach of both puree and baby led weaning, which is usually what I end up recommending. But again, remember, if I'm working with a baby, it's because we're having some kind of issue. So I come from a jaded perspective. So 1, offer finger foods to the baby from day 1. Even if you are also feeding purees, like I said, then they get to play with it, they get to touch it, they get that developmental exposure, both mentally and motor development. But you're still able to get some bites into their mouth to be sure they're also experiencing some flavors and maybe actually swallowing some calories. So that's wonderful. And then also you can observe how much they eat. And by that, I mean some babies really just eat puree much better for a variety of reasons. It could be, you know, where they are physically in their development of swallowing. It could be just a personal preference that they have. But then, you know, are you one of those kids, is your baby one of those kids that will have 2 bites of solid food on their plate, but will eat a whole ounce of puree? If they are, like, you know, keep that in mind. Maybe only ever offering them solid foods isn't a great idea because they may not eat enough. So learning how your baby likes to experience their food. 2, bring the baby to the table from day 1. So, you know, your baby can experience family life and being included while also eating a puree. It's just as easy as bringing them to the table. And also, you know, you having a snack while they have a snack, you know, these approaches you can take to be sure the baby's incorporated into family life. Okay, and then 3, I've harped on this, but include strategic purees as necessary for your baby nutritionally. You know, if your 9-month hemoglobin came back, you know, on the borderline and you're still breastfeeding and your baby will not put meat or egg in their mouth, well, you know, then it's totally fine to make a puree and stir up some meat or some liver with some flavors that they do enjoy so that you're still providing them nutrition-based or food-based nutrition, which I like as a first approach as opposed to like a polyvagal or iron supplement, to try that first. And that's totally okay. You're still caring for them that way. It's still a natural approach in my opinion. Okay, and then lastly, I love the idea that baby led weaning encourages independence and gives the baby some autonomy, but you can take steps to incorporate that with purees as well. So, of course, feeding purees, you still want to follow your infant's cues. You know, when they refuse and turn away, they're probably full. But also really encourage them to open their mouth, to ask for more. You can, you know, here with my wine, you see that here's the sign for more. Babies can learn to sign right away so that they can help communicate to you, or they can learn to sign before they can learn to verbally speak, so that they can communicate to you that they like it and they would like more. Giving your baby a spoon right away. So, you know, if you're feeding at 6 months, they're not going to be able to feed themselves. But they can, while you are holding a spoon, they can hold a spoon and wave it around, throw it at you, fling food at you is what's going to happen. But, you know, they're participating. And in that line, once a baby has some more development, encouraging them to help guide the spoon you are holding to their mouth. So before they're ready to actually get it in their own mouth, which is very hard, they can, you know, put their hand on your hand, help, you know, be involved with bringing the food to the general area of their face, which is about all they're capable of in the very beginning. But all of those things do the same idea of encouraging autonomy. They're participating. They're beginning to learn to be in charge of their own bodies. Like, I'm hungry, I want to eat, I'm full, I'm done. You know, so there's other ways that you can get those benefits from baby-led weaning while taking a mixed approach. So those are my thoughts. I hope that is helpful. Again, I want to emphasize that I am really a firm believer in taking a flexible approach to all these big milestones. Solid foods being a big one. Try it out, see how it works for your family, and then you'll end up with your own special feeding regimen that's just fit for you guys. And then that way you also can consider, again, from a nutrition standpoint, your baby's unique body growth, likes and dislikes, and feel really good that they're getting the nutrition they need while also having all these fun social development that occurs with solid foods. It's such a fun and horribly messy time. It's the best. Okay. I'm sure you can hear what's going on. Petey, I'm going to sign out. Do you want to sign out to your audience too? You want to come say bye? Here. You can come say goodbye. He would like to come say goodbye because he's got his camera too. Here, come on.
Bye.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.
Have a good week.
Okay, I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful holiday. If you've got follow-up questions, leave them in the comments. And again, I just really hope this is helpful and just encourages you to trust your intuition. And you're in charge of your own baby and you're going to make the best choices. Take care, you guys. See you later. Bye.